History of a Haunting is proud to be a sponsor of the 2022 Dirt Days Festival in Williamson, West Virginia. One of Coal Country's largest off-road festivals takes over the city of Williamson every year on the last weekend of April. Thousands of riders invade the valley to take in the Hatfield-McCoy trails and more. If you love mud, trail riding, and great times with friends, Dirt Days is for you.
Some of the festival highlights for 2022 include over 500 miles of riding on the Hatfield-McCoy trail system, as well as additional trails in the Pike and Martin counties in Kentucky. There's going to be vendors, awesome local food, parade, mud pit, dirt drag racing, live music, photography-based poker run, and a fireworks show.
If you plan to attend, we recommend that you pre-register for Dirt Days. From now until April 13th, registration is only $50, and it includes an official Dirt Days goodie bag, a festival t-shirt, and a festival decal, Hatfield-McCoy Trails event wristband, and that gives you access to every Hatfield-McCoy Trail system, and it's only good for April 28th through May 1st. You get a 2022 Hatfield-McCoy Buffalo Mountain, Devil Ants, and Rockhouse trail maps, a mud pit dirt drag area armband, 3 $5 food vouchers, official sponsor list, official event schedule, and various goodies from the sponsors, such as your very own HOAH koozie.
That's really the only reason that you guys need to be attending the event, so that you can have our koozie. To register, go to visitcoalcountry.org, and for more information, check out their official Facebook page, Dirt Days.
Let's get dirty.
Hi.
Howdy.
I just had to check to see if my mic was muted or not.
I was like, what are you looking for?
I was looking at the little red button. Welcome to another successful episode of History of a Haunting, guys. I am Carrie Hopper.
And I am Laura Ackerman, and we're off to a bang-up start as usual.
As usual. One of the new things that you will notice about History of a Haunting is that we have a couple of promos we're going to throw at you. The first one, of course, is Dirt Days. We're super excited to promote that. That is going to be the weekend of April 28th through May 1st. So I am definitely going to be there. Laura is trying her darndest to be there. So we certainly hope that you guys will, come on out and do a little off-road trail riding. I really hope you come because I can't drive these things by myself.
It sounds really, really fun. I really want to come. I don't know if I'll be able to make it happen, but
yeah,
I'm trying.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So,
sure.
That's going to be running before every episode. So for those of you who like to skip ahead, that's rude. You shouldn't. It's good information. But heads up. There you go.
Our voices are like butter.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
Come on.
I feel like I should start singing or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe we should start singing Take Me Home Country Roads in the beginning of every episode.
It's only fun when you're doing interpretive dance while I'm driving, sticking your fucking hands in my face while we're going through winding mountain roads in West Virginia.
Yeah, down the Blue Ridge Mountains. Those little, what are they called? What are they? Pin hair turns? What are they called? Those little tight turns around the...
Oh, yeah. But switchbacks?
Maybe?
But yeah.
Anyway, I like to do interpretive dance to that song while Laura drives through the Blue Ridge Mountains. Anywho, yeah. So let's just go right into our EVPs, of which I only have the one. I am going to be representing History of a Haunting and Southern Entities Paranormal Friday, March 11th, which is going to be next Friday from the time that you guys get this episode. We are doing a private overnight investigation of St. Albans Sanatorium, sorry. There's going to be, I think there's 12 or 13 of us in this big ass crazy sanatorium. building. And, I think it's 8:30 to 5:30 in the morning. So it's the first major investigation for the podcast and for Southern Entities Paranormal of 2022. And I'm going to be doing it all by my lonesome because you guys suck.
You can do it.
I can do it. I'm going with a bunch of our paranormal team friends, so we're really excited about that. We're going to be doing solos and duos down in the bowling alley basement, which is where the most malevolent entity in the entire sanatorium resides. So depending on how Wi-Fi is, as always, guys, and depending on how well I remember, I will do some Facebook Lives for sure. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm anxious to get back out there and start investigating again for this year now that the threat of driving through the Virginia and West Virginia landscape in the snow is minimal now. There's no way I was going to go through any of that in the snow because they get way more than we do here in North Carolina. So I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to this. I've been cooped up in my house and I finally get why Jennifer and all of them are like, we're sick of winter. We want to go play outside. I'm like, okay. It gets cold. I get it. I love it, but I'm anxious to go back to investigating. So that's all I've got. St. Albans coming up March 11th.
Exciting.
Yeah. What about you?
I am, going to Guatemala in a few days.
Yes.
To hopefully successfully summit a volcano that is taller than Mount Fuji. So that's exciting. I may have bitten off more than I can chew.
Yeah. Again,
we'll
real
see how
sorry
that
I couldn't
goes.
make this one.
Yeah. You're real bummed out.
I'm hardcore bummed out.
Really excited to explore Antigua. Which is where I'm going to be staying for the time that I'm there. And it has a really cool history, very intact colonial city.
Cool.
Lots of history, supposedly lots of ghosts too. So
neat.
I'll be doing some videos and stuff from there.
Are you going to try to Facebook Live from the summit of the volcano? Suppose they have good cell service?
I'm pretty sure the cell service not going to be great
You don't think
at the
so?
top of the volcano. Nah, I'm going to go with a no.
But you are going to deliver some TikToks for us, right? Once you get back down
course I
safely.
will.
Unless you die.
Yes, absolutely. Unless I die, yeah. Unless I get sacrificed. But otherwise, we're good.
Okay. All right. Well, then, I mean, I always have to have a host on deck, so HG, you're up.
All right.
Unless you both die.
Afterwards, we're going to take a little family trip with my dad and his wife and my niece we're going to do the Grand Canyon Railroad.
Oh, that'll be fun.
With Zane. So I'm excited to go do that. That's going to be fun.
That's going to be fun. Is he on spring break? Is that why all the traveling?
Yes, he's on spring break.
Gotcha.
So he's with my ex for part of it and then with me for the rest of it.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I've always wanted to do that. Although Coy's always wanted to do the Polar Express through the Grand Canyon. He's always wanted to do that, but now that he's older, he's like, meh, Polar Express, Schmoller Express, you know. Those darn 21-year-olds just don't want to do all the fun kid stuff they used to. So
Right?
Yeah. So you have that to look forward to. Enjoy these times, Laura, because then they're just kind of a pain in the ass. Yeah.
And I'll report back on how it is. I'm pretty excited. So
Cool.
That'd be fun.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, we were supposed to, we went to DC this past weekend. I had gotten my son and did this big elaborate spy mission thing, scavenger hunt for his birthday, and got him tickets to the Spy Museum in DC. And we, trek up there, and it's not that far, but, we go up there, and we got stuck on the I-95 because they're doing construction on it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're widening the road or what they're fucking doing, but we were stuck in traffic for so long that we missed our ticket time. And our ticket time was at 11:45. At 11:30, the GPS was like, you're not going to get there until like 12:08. So I called the museum and I said, hey, this is what's going on. We're on our way, but we're stuck. And how we still honor our tickets. And he's like, we give you a 30-minute grace period. And if you are beyond that, then you need to talk to ticketing and they'll see if they can fit you in at another time today or book you a new date. So we actually hit DC at like 12:07, and it's not far from when you like get into DC. The problem is the parking isn't great. So you can either park in an underground parking lot of which you can't find the entrance, or you could circle around the bridge and try to park on either side of the bridge that was completely full. So essentially we missed our ticket time. And I called him back and I was like, we didn't make it. And so he's like, unfortunately, all of our time slots are filled for the day. We were just coming out for the day because we left our dogs at home. And so I said, all right, well, we'll reschedule it. So we had to reschedule it because of like the investigations that we have going on and just other things going on in my personal schedule. I was like, well, can we, we'll have to reschedule it for April. So we're going to go back in April. And instead we spent the day at the Smithsonian. And not the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian has a ton of different museums. So we didn't spend the day at the one that has like Judy Garland slippers. That's the American History Museum. We went to the Natural History Museum where we got to see the coolest. I mean, I thought it was cool. I'm a big fan of anatomy and stuff like that. So the bones in the mummies exhibit, I thought that was really cool. They had bones of every kind, from humans to apes to just about every single kind of animal ever. I got to see the full skeleton of a bison. It was just really, really, really cool. There's leatherback turtles that are bigger than sea turtles, I guess. And I saw their skeleton. It was just a lot of fun. Plus, I got to see 3 mummies that were between 2,200 and 3,000 years old. One of them looked to be was about a 4 or 5-year-old little boy. So those were really, really cool. And then I did go to the gemstone exhibit where I sent Laura a bunch of pictures of the Hope Diamond.
She did indeed.
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
You covered that. Did you cover that in the Haunted Objects? Was that the one you covered, the Hope Diamond?
I didn't.
Or did Archie? I covered the
Somebody
Cohen.
else had that one.
I covered the Cohen Moore Diamond.
Yes, I remember that. I don't remember. We did talk about the Curse of the Hope Diamond.
The Hope Diamond, yeah. I think it was.
Was it a whole episode just on the Curse of the Hope Diamond?
No, it was the Haunted Objects Part 2 where we each 3 did a curse. No, I think Archie did that one because you did the painting. Or no, Thomas Busby's stoop chair you did.
Oh, yeah. No, he did the chair. I did the painting. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's on there somewhere. Go find it. You can
Anyway,
find it
maybe
on
we
the
didn't
podcast,
talk about the Hope Diamond.
I swear we did.
I thought we did. I know we did a diamond, the Kohinoor diamond, because that's in the Queen Mother's crown in Britain. Anywho, yeah, maybe you and I just talked about it at length one night on the phone, and that's what we're thinking of. Anyway, so I sent her pictures of that, and then I also sent her, I said, they had this yellow diamond necklace and matching earrings, and then this green diamond brooch. And the name of the family that donated these jewels to the Smithsonian was the Hooker family. So I took a picture of it and I said, oh, so lovely of you to donate your jewels to the Smithsonian, Laura, because it was like Hooker's yellow diamond and Hooker's emerald brooch. And yeah.
I was like, you're an asshole. Look, you're still an asshole in DC. It doesn't change wherever you go. You're consistent.
But your name was all over those gems, so it was really nice of you to donate them to the museum.
It was really nice of me.
Yeah, I just love all the gemstones. And I got a really beautiful necklace that I don't have. It's amethyst, which is my birthstone. And so we had a great time. It was just we call ourselves the Clampets because every road trip we take gets fucked up in some kind of way. We either get super lost or something happens, and this was no different. So, it was another classic Clampet road trip. So we had fun, but anyway.
Your stories are always hilarious about all the shit that happens.
Jesus Christ, it was ridiculous.
It's always just
utterly ridiculous.
Just fucked.
Yeah, it's always fucked. Yeah, which I mean, and I'm not kidding. Like My mom is Clampett Travels on Instagram. I'm Carrie Clampett's Adventures. Like, we play this up because this is literally exactly how every single one of our road trips goes. And I don't know if we've just precursed ourselves with that kind of just notion that it's going to be fucked up. So it just is. But literally everywhere we go, there's something happens.
Self-fulfilling prophecy there.
Yes, something happens that was not planned, and it's just one of those. We're getting really good at learning how to just kind of adjust and adapt to unforeseen circumstances on road trips.
Learning how to roll with it.
Roll with it, yeah. That's the theme. So we have fun. We laugh. We had a great time.
I'm glad you had fun.
Yeah, we had a great time. So, yeah, and we're going back in April. So... this time we're going to do Air and Space Museum and Spy Museum. So Koi's excited about that. And since it's technically his birthday gift, it is what it is.
Yeah. Sounds fun, though.
Yeah. And I think that was it for the EVPs, even though those weren't really EVPs, but
yeah,
the listeners are used to us going off on tangents and stuff. Anyway, I hope that you don't die on a volcano.
Thanks. Me too.
Yeah.
That'd be a real bummer.
That would be a real bummer. And I would start getting a complex because I'm really starting to go through the hosts.
That's funny.
Anywho.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to do that to you.
No, please don't. I mean, think of me. But we're going to a little bit of a safer place this time, out in the Nevada desert. Ladies and gentlemen, today's episode, we are talking about the Nevada State Prison. Ooh.
It's so spooky.
It is. It's haunted. We should talk about that on this show.
We might want to touch on that. Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Right. So my sources for the Nevada State Prison, which I've heard is haunted, is nevadastateprison.org and Wikipedia. Yay, love
Yay, Wikipedia. Donate $5, $2, whatever you can. I know, even if you don't have a podcast, I know everybody has looked something up on Wikipedia. So help them out and donate money.
There you go.
Yes.
So Nevada State Prison is located in Carson City, Nevada. The prison was in continuous operation from its establishment in 1862 until its closure in 2012.
That was a long time.
Yeah, 150 years, man.
That was a really, really long time. I was really surprised to find out it just closed in 2015. 12. What'd you say?
Yeah, it's...
12? 2.
Yeah, so this actually even predates Nevada as a
state.
As a state.
Yeah.
So, for the history of this prison, you have to go back like all the way to the founding of that area.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, seriously. So, Abraham Curry was one of the first and the most important settler of Eagle Valley, which became the site of Carson City. Okay. So he arrived in the valley in 1858 from Utah and purchased the Eagle Ranch for $500 and several Mustang horses. So on that property, he built the Warm Springs Hotel using the sandstone rock that was quarried on the site. Ooh. In December of 1861, the first territorial legislature met at the hotel and created the Board of Prison Commissioners. This board was authorized to lease the property adjacent to Curry's Hotel effective January 1st, 1862. This is the date for the establishment of what was to become the Nevada State Prison. Curry was also appointed as the first territorial warden of the prison on that date.
Wow, okay.
Right.
Most people want to open up a gold mine, but I mean, these guys went straight for a prison. All right, sure.
Just do the prison.
Why not?
The territorial legislature subsequently authorized the purchase of the 20 acres being used as a prison, including the quarry. So the purchase was to be effective on March 1st, 1864, and Curry got $80,000 for that.
Wow. That's 28.4 million today, I believe.
I think sounds about right.
Okay.
So on October 31st, 1864, the territory of Nevada was admitted to the Union.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought it was about the same age as Arizona, which was 1912.
Yeah, no. The Constitution of the state established the board of prison commissioners composed of the governor, secretary of state, and attorney general. The lieutenant governor of the state was to act as the official warden in order so that they could pay him, right? Provide him with a salary.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. So the lieutenant governor, John Crossman, thus became the warden of the institution on March 4th, 1865. And he stayed there until 1867. But after he left on May 1st, 1867, a fire occurred at the prison with a total loss of all buildings and all prison records. The buildings were brick and mortar structures covered with dried wooden shingles.
Okay.
It's assumed that the inmates set the fire because they hated the housing. So,
I mean, it's not supposed to be the Ritz.
Right, exactly. In 1870, another fire occurred, and a major portion of the institution was again destroyed.
This is reminding me of something.
Lots of prisons from that time kind of have a tendency to go up.
A recent episode, you had said in your history report, like it was like the location had caught fire like 3 times.
There's a bunch of places it seems like that we've covered that do that. I don't remember which one that was.
I actually think it was probably a prison.
That sounds about right.
Listeners, let us know.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys pay more attention than we do.
Hopefully.
Right. So yeah, in 1870, another one occurred, and the major part of the institution was again destroyed.
Right.
So this incident resulted in a construction project using quarried stone on site and inmate labor to build substantial structures now.
There it is. Inmate labor. That's why the first one didn't work out well.
Right? On September 17th of 1871, the most dramatic event in the history of the prison in the 19th century occurred. The captain of the guard was attacked while locking the inmates into their cells on a late Sunday afternoon. 29 inmates participated in this escape, acquiring guns from the armory, shooting Lieutenant Governor Frank Denver and several guards, killing 2 people.
Oh my God.
Most were recaptured. 2 were hung by a posse, and the ringleader was never found.
Really?
Convict Lake in Mono County, California is where the escapees made their last stand. And now also where it got its name.
Wow, okay.
Right. So the next year, 1872, legislation resulted in a repeal of the portion of the Constitution which established the prison as the responsibility of the lieutenant governor. And a new warden was appointed, but Lieutenant Governor Denver, the guy that was just shot, refused to hand over the institution and refused to allow the governor or any other members of the prison board to enter the prison. Finally, the governor had to call out the militia in March of 1873. Shit. Yeah. So confronted by 60 soldiers and a small artillery piece, Denver finally surrendered the institution. Like, he didn't want to fucking give it up.
I would. You just shot me. Take this, bitch. Right? I don't want it.
Why do you want to stay so much?
You clearly don't have a handle on it. I'm sorry. I'm on the verge of sneezing. So if I
it's
dip
okay.
off,
Go ahead.
then
sneeze it out. The primary means of support for the prison during the 19th century was a shoe shop where inmates were engaged in the construction and sales of footwear. It's the sales part that throws me.
A little.
Like, you go to get...
Is this how Reebok started?
Is this how what
Reebok started?
Pretty sure Nike.
Little known fact.
The institution obtained funds through the quarrying and dressing of sandstone that was taken from within the perimeter of the institution.
Sure.
Although it was not the major source of income, the quarry had the most profound and lasting effect on the face of Carson City. Public buildings and homes throughout Carson City reflect the prison as a source of the substantial construction material. So, just a lot of the public buildings in Carson City were made during this time and from the sandstone that they took out of there.
The quarry that was there, yeah.
Mm-hmm. In the late 1870s, inmates working to quarry the stone in the prison discovered the fossilized footprints of prehistoric creatures. So this is kind of cool. So In 1882, the Carson City Sheriff communicated the discovery of the footprints to the California Academy of Science in San Francisco. The footprints were correctly identified as the Brea fauna of the Pliocene era. Sorry, I don't know any of this.
Sorry,
Pliocene. I'm like, I'm going to murder this. We're going to go
The only reason I know that is because of Ross on Friends.
Nice. Like, I took geography in college. I don't remember. But were attributed to a previously unknown race of giant humans. At that point, the prints were estimated to be about 2 million years old.
Whoa.
Varied interpretations of the origin of these mysterious impressions fueled academic controversy and varied attribution from giant humans to giant sloths. In the end, the sloth advocates won out in 1917.
This is the weirdest debate.
It's super strange, and it came from a prison. Like, it's just right, this. Yes. I just thought it was so funny.
This is so far out of left field. Yeah.
Yeah. So other prints included mammoths, native horses, large birds, dire wolves, and the sloths, big-toothed cats, elk, and deer. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
I thought it was so interesting.
Yeah, I like that. That's interesting.
Just crazy stuff.
You know.
So this prison later became the state-designated facility for all hangings, starting in 1903.
Fun.
Yeah. So in response to Mormon preferences, the Nevada State Legislature passed a statute in 1910 that became effective the following year, allowing condemned prisoners to choose between execution by shooting or hanging.
Yeah, I did hear about this.
Yeah, they're super...
Pick your poison. Basically.
Right? They're flexible.
Basically.
We're flexible.
Yeah.
However you want to do it, we're good with.
Yeah. You're going to die one way or another.
Right.
You tell us.
So on May 14, 1913, Andriza Merkovich became the first and only inmate in Nevada to be executed by shooting.
So like firing squad? Okay.
After Warden George W. Cowing was able to find 5 men to perform a firing squad, a shooting machine was built to carry out the execution. When the device arrived at the prison, Cowing no longer wanted to have any part of the execution and he resigned.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Was the other guy still alive? Did he want to take it back over?
Call Denver back.
Yeah.
So in 1921, a bill authorizing the use of lethal gas had passed the Nevada State Legislature.
Yeah.
Condemned murderer Guy John of the Hip Sing Tong Criminal Society became the first person to be executed by this method in the United States. Hip Sing Tong was a Chinese kind of mafia.
Oh, okay.
Warden Dickerson sent his assistant Tom Pickett from Carson City to L.A. to personally pick up 20 pounds of lethal gas, which was contained in a mobile fumigating unit at a cost of $700. 4 guards did not want to participate in the process and resigned. Prison officials first attempted to pump poison gas directly into Guy's cell while he was sleeping, but without success because the gas leaked from the cell.
I mean, yeah. Mm-hmm. I had heard that they were like bags of pellets that would release the gas when they were like either wet or lit on fire or like, whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they set up a makeshift gas chamber at the butcher shop of the prison. So they strapped Guy onto a chair in the chamber. A small window next to the wooden chair allowed witnesses to look inside. Attendees included news reporters, public health officials, and representatives of the U.S. Army. So on the morning of February 8, 1924, the pump sprayed 4 pounds of hydrocyanic acid into the chamber. Because an electric heater failed, the chamber was 52 degrees instead of the ideal 75 degrees, causing some of the acid to form a puddle on the floor. Guy's head appeared to nod up and down for 6 minutes before he succumbed to the gas.
Oh, God.
The prison staff waited 3 hours for the remaining puddle of the gas of the liquid then
to turn to
evaporate before they cleaned it up the chamber, before they would even go in there.
Oh, my God.
So the warden reported to the governor that the In his opinion, the use of the lethal gas was impractical, and he thought firing squad was still the best way to go. He's like, this is way too much fucking work.
Yeah, kind of. We don't really know what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they didn't agree. And 32 men were executed in Nevada's 3 gas chambers between 1924 and 1979.
And wasn't this location the location of the first gas chamber? Did you say that? Did I miss that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No.
Well, obviously, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
Clearly. We'll just throw this little bag into the cell with the open bars with the rest of them. It'll be fine.
Right.
It'll just stay within the bars.
It'll be cool. So on October 22nd, 1979, convicted murderer Jesse Bishop became the first person to be executed at the prison after there was after the state reinstated the death penalty following the lifting of a national moratorium on capital punishment. Bishop was also the last prisoner to be executed by lethal gas by the state. However, on December 6th of 1985, serial killer Carol Cole became the first inmate to be executed in Nevada by lethal injection.
Ah, okay.
So, and you know, there's always good escapes. So here's my favorite.
Love a good escape.
Me too.
Please let it be in a truck of roast beef.
Yes, please let them have been doing that. In 1923, Leonard Fristow and 2 other inmates accompanied Warden Tom Slater in the warden's car on a trip to Reno.
Sure.
Left unattended by the warden, however, Fristow walked away and was not heard from again until 1968. He was arrested in California after a domestic disturbance and was returned to the prison. His escape lasted for 45 years. Jesus, dumbass. Yes, right? So this was the longest escape, right, and recapture in U.S. history until 2015. In May of 1970, Fristow received a pardon and was released based upon the split vote of the pardons board. So,
wow, all right.
Yeah. So, this...
Oh, just give it to him. Look, he lived 45 years, didn't do nothing.
Right, seriously.
God.
So, after the governor signed a bill into law that legalized gambling in the state...
Oh, yeah.
Nevada State Prison did the unthinkable and opened a casino for inmates. It was nicknamed the Bullpen. Yeah. And the casino was a success for 3 decades before it was eventually shut down. I just love this. It's so crazy.
It's so Nevada. It's so Nevada.
Like, you know what they need?
Gambling.
Craps. Right? So the casino operated in a windowless, solid rock room carved from natural sandstone surrounding the prison before it was moved to a larger sandstone building with walls sometime in the 1930s. During its 30-year operation, the casino offered traditional games such as blackjack, craps, and poker, and the inmates ran the entire casino.
Cool. From
hosting the games to organizing the security. Inmates also had their own currency in denominations of 5 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents, 50, $1, and $5, which were used at the casino. And today, the currency is considered a collector's item.
Wow, I bet, yeah.
Yeah, it's like bronze. It's there's some pictures on up. The casino was self-policed, so the inmates who ran the games did not tolerate cheating or strong-arming for fear of getting shut down by the warden.
Yeah.
A percentage of the take was deposited in the inmate welfare fund, an act which added legitimacy to this immoral habit.
Oh my God.
Right. Throughout its 35 years, various wardens either tolerated the casino or considered it a good distraction for the inmates. Until 1967, when a bill in the state legislature prohibited prison gaming. So then they had to close down the casino. And the building which it was housed in was eventually demolished.
Oh, okay.
Sad.
Yeah.
Another unique, I don't know, I guess feature of this prison is known as the cave.
Oh, yeah.
So the cave is located on the west side of the prison in the sheer wall that marks the boundary of the quarry. It is not a naturally occurring geologic feature. Rather, it was dug sometime during the period when blocks were being cut from the quarry. It appears in photos as early as 1880.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it's a large area with an entrance and an exit. In the roof of the cave, there's a vent that reaches to the top of the quarry. The history of the cave is replete with rumors and legends. What is known for certain is that it was used as a crude form of solitary confinement and disciplinary segregation as late as 1961.
Damn.
Yeah. So in that year, C Block was completed there, and C Block became the housing for the most difficult inmates.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So a news article from that period quoted the warden as stating that the last inmate had been removed from the cave. Right? I mean, in the fucking 60s, they're putting people in caves.
In caves, yeah. And though, you know what? I have a picture, a couple of them. I don't know if they're right. We'll see. This prison kind of reminds me. There we go. So here's like the outdoor, the yard. I mean, they just up and left when they closed it. You can see there's still like exercise equipment out there. But this prison very much reminds me of Yuma Territorial Prison in that it's out in the middle of the fucking desert. It's just looks very barren and hot. And they also, Yuma Territorial also has a dark cell, which was built into the rock of the land. So,
Yeah.
I mean, on the surface, it sounds handy and great idea, but to last that long is really kind of barbaric.
It really is.
Yeah.
So the decades of 1970 and 1980s were characterized by inmate violence and legal challenges to an antiquated correction system.
Yeah.
The institution witnessed several murders of inmates, high-profile escapes, numerous hostage incidents,
Damn.
and attacks on staff.
Ugh.
NSP also became troubled by racial tension and the rise of prison gangs. The operation of the prison became an issue in the election for the governor in 1982, contributing to the defeat of the incumbent governor. Ultimately, control was regained by the hiring and influence of a town tamer, the former warden of San Quentin, George Sumner.
Ooh, bad. You don't want that guy there. San Quentin.
Yeah. So, in the 1980s, NSP was expanded onto the northeastern bluff. These new housing units proved to be poorly designed with obstructed lines of sight and minimal opportunity for inmate supervision. So these flaws, along with the deterioration of the original infrastructure, encroaching community, and the disordered perimeter, resulting in a phased closing of the institution. The prison finally closed its doors in May 18th of 2012.
That's so long.
I know. Hold on, I lost my place.
I can hear you clicking.
I know, I'm all, where did you go? Sorry, 'cause I messed up. So, they say that it was for budgetary reasons when they closed it.
Sure, yeah, that's what I read too.
But yeah, it seems like it was just a shit show, really.
Yeah, yeah.
But now, again, they're doing tours and all kinds of stuff. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
And that's the history.
And they're getting
of
them.
State Prison.
That was a great job. Wow.
Oh, thanks.
I like it. I like it. I've never heard of a warden getting shot and being like, "You're not taking this from me. This is my baby. I want to stay here
love it here.
forever." I love it here.
I know, there's some really just quirky shit in this one. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
A lot. Yeah.
which I think is fun because we do cover a decent amount of presence on the show, and
Yeah, we
it's
do.
always nice when there's something a little bit out of the ordinary.
Yeah. It's a good time. Yeah, it definitely does remind me of Yuma Territorial Prison, but again, it's just out in the middle of the Nevada desert. Like, there's nothing. There's like Moundsville and Brushy, and they're all surrounded by this like lush green mountainous landscape, and these two, no. It's almost
Nothing.
like, yeah, it's stone hell on earth, really. So we will get into the hauntings that happened as a result of all of this fun activity at Nevada State Prison after this. We will be right back. If you've never heard of Reiki before, or have heard of it but never tried it, now is your wonderful chance. Reiki is a Japanese complementary health approach using the goal of directing energy to help facilitate the person's own healing response.
It's based on the belief in an energy that supports the body's innate or natural healing abilities. It has been used to help with relaxation, anxiety, pain management, depression, focus, and so much more.
Erin Bush of Soul Waves Spiritual Wellness is a certified Reiki healer and brings her offerings to the listeners here at History of a Haunting.
Erin channels the universal life source energy that connects us all to work its magic to kickstart your body's innate ability to heal.
With a free initial consultation, a variety of options best suited for your personal needs, and all done over Zoom, contact Erin at Soul Waves Spiritual Wellness today at soulwavesekb@gmail.com or call her at 904-438-4604.
Soul Wave Spiritual Wellness. Take your power back and get started on your healing journey. That's soulwavesekb@gmail.com or by phone at 904-438-4604.
Okay, so I got my sources from onlyinyourstate.com, nevadamagazine.com, one article written by both Meg Mueller and Eric Chachinero. I also got my stuff from hauntedjourneys.com, mynews4.com, an article by Miles Bergwijn, and then my favorite, Destination Fear. So, real quick, I did want to show everybody the last method of, the last method of, execution that they used at the prison was lethal injection. And so the original bed and everything is still in the prison. And I believe this is it. Yep, there it is. Complete with like a viewing room. Like you can see the windows there, like where, you know, Press and the family and everybody like that would watch. The episode of Destination Fear did kind of show a little bit more of this room, and it used to be part of the gas chamber. So there is a valve there that is marked fresh air that they would then turn on to release all of the gas out of the air before they came in and removed the body. I thought that was just super creepy and haunting on a very different level. I couldn't find a picture of it, but I was also rushing. So sorry, guys. So I thought that was pretty...
It is creepy.
Super creepy, yeah. Mm. Kind of brings it a little more home than just seeing a lethal injection bed there. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. So, anyway, when you go take a tour of the prison, the tour does start with a look at the exterior of the building before going inside. So, like you said, it's got these uniform sandstone blocks, a lot of concrete that compose much of the courtyard, and these sandstone blocks, this concrete looks a little weird when it's compared with the natural stone walls and crude caves that you mentioned that are intermixed around the property, which they still are. They're not closed off. They're still there. Like obviously people can't go in them, but there's bars over them. So it's a little off-putting. Barbed wire and metal bars do cover most of the surfaces here. In that one picture that I showed you, basketball hoops and barbells still line the yard. And then, of course, chipping concrete foundation is seen, especially around the prison's on-site casino that it used to have. Mm-hmm. So everything looks kind of really bleak and just sort of weathered, just sitting out in the desert, unused for, X amount of time. So once you get inside, and this really actually creeped me out more than the look of the facade of the building. Once inside, the dullness, they tried to kind of offset it. And in the visiting room, it was designed to make children and family members feel comfortable while visiting inmates. There is a mural that features familiar cartoon characters. Let me see if I've gotten this one correct. It's always a game here. I don't know. Yes. So it's got this vibrant mural featuring familiar cartoon characters. In it, you see the Peanuts gang, Blue's Clues is there. You've got Donald Duck. You've got Mickey Mouse. You Tigger. You even have Roger Rabbit, Scooby-Doo. You know, which apparently this mural was painted by. Oh my God, Garfield's on there. I just noticed it. This was painted by one of the most notorious serial killers in Nevada's history that was housed there. Unfortunately, the article didn't state who that was, so maybe take that with a grain of salt. Maybe that's thrown in for theatrical effect when you take a tour. It works, as far as I'm concerned. The idea that
I wonder if it was Carol Cole.
I don't know. It might have been.
He's pretty nasty.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting that this, because it's a good painting. Like, they do look like the characters, especially the Charlie Brown characters. But the idea that it was painted by a notorious serial killer. I mean, not that, I guess they can't be artists or whatever, but still, it just, the bright cheerfulness of it doesn't jive with that source
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that idea. Yeah. Hate it. Don't love it. So, the very first paranormal investigation of Nevada State Prison was actually conducted in 2015 by the Northern Nevada Ghost Hunters. One of the senior reporters for KOLO 8 News in Carson City tagged along with the group on their investigation. And the guy, Ed Pierce, describes himself as a skeptic, but he does admit that he saw an unexplained figure appearing in the window of a door that leads to the prison yard. However, at this point, there was nobody else in the prison. They were just arriving. It's an abandoned prison. There was nobody else there. Right. So he did have an experience that he just can't explain, which I thought was really cool. So he did keep an open mind throughout the rest of his tour. There wasn't a whole lot else that might have swayed him one way or the other on the belief in the paranormal, but there was another group called Empathetic Paranormal that investigated there a year later in 2016. They focused primarily on the kitchen, the intake room, and the main cell block. One investigator, after the end of a EVP session, thanked the spirits and just thanked them for talking with them and what have you. And later on found that they had captured an EVP right after he thanked them saying, "Be careful." Which, the stuff that I've read, the spirits are primarily nice and cordial and will talk to you and interact and what have you. But there are a few that just don't love it at all. So, I guess in the intake room, they also captured a mist, which I have captured mists in photographs before. They are highly unexplainable. But there have been a couple of times where it's like, oh, you know what? It was really humid out that night, and this could be just a reflection of the lens of the camera and what have you. But this mist seemed to fly upward and then split apart, which I thought was really different and interesting. Yeah, weird. As well as a Class A EVP right after that saying, "Miss, get out."
Wow.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's your usual stuff: bangs, whispers, dark shadow figures. So, during an official paranormal investigation, what appeared to be a mist clouded one of the cells where disembodied legs were also seen. And
that's fucking...
Just legs. Just legs. And I remember the first time we covered a location that had that, Archie and I were like, abso-fucking-lutely not.
Yeah, that's real fucking weird.
Yeah. That would be very disconcerting to see just legs. What the fuck happened to the rest of you? Right. Or do you not have enough... If you don't have enough energy to fully manifest, just don't at all.
Right? Just chill.
Just make
Or
a
at least start
bang.
at the top and come down.
And come down. But why
Not the bottom up. Why?
There is, at the Birdcage Theater in Tombstone, Arizona, there is a pair of disembodied legs that has been seen there wearing cowboy boots.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
That's funny. I was just there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, God. The mess hall and the kitchen have sustained much violent energy from the rioting days, and this is one of the hot spots of spectral events. One time there was a digital recording that picked up a man that was like laughing in a really eerie, creepy way. That to me is always much more terrifying than if you were to hear it in real time in the moment. To hear something sort of sinister, like a creepy laugh, days, hours, days, weeks, even after the event when you're reviewing the footage, that to me is really creepy.
Yeah. Well, especially because you have to
you
go
didn't
back
know
to
it
the moment,
happened.
like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah, you had no idea it happened. Yeah, for sure. The shower room is also active with the spirit of an inmate who was allegedly murdered there. So there's a lot of activity that goes on there. Nothing great. A lot of touching, whispering, the sounds of wet footprints. All of it is just bad.
Gross.
It's just bad. So I guess there you have to walk through this like courtyard to a row of cell blocks, and on the third floor of these cell blocks is an area where more than 3 jailed men were murdered when the prison was in operation. So at this particular spot, this group played those music boxes. Have you ever seen them? They're like in the shape of coffins, and they're a sensor essentially. And if anything with any sort of electromagnetic field or what have you, temperature fluctuation moves in front of the music music box, it plays this music boxy creepy song. Have you ever seen that? Yeah. I've looked into getting one for Southern entities, but they're like $400. I'm all, that's fine. The REM pod is just fine. The beeps are not necessarily melodic, but, it's affordable. So apparently they were doing like an EVP session, asking them questions. On the thermal monitor were 2 large figures that showed human-like forms of energy just beyond this author's shoulders and reflected in the bars behind them, which I thought was interesting. A heat signature that that is almost solid but then reflected on the bars. I don't know. I was like, I need to see this picture, but of course there wasn't one that accompanied it. But that sounds kind of fascinating in and of itself.
It does.
Yeah. Throughout the investigation, as it went on, this author started feeling a sense of cold and then started getting a slight headache. So there's that idea that they can make you physically ill. So maybe that's what was happening. Now, they did sit for a while in the dark, visiting different cells. Spirit boxes would frequently, spit out relevant words to questions that they were asking. Words that were completely innocuous to whatever radio station happened to be flying by at the time, which I thought was really interesting. So then Destination Fear also did an episode on this location, as everybody knows. I love that show. And if you haven't seen this episode, I mean, giving away some spoilers, but not a whole lot. They split into duos, and Chelsea and Tanner were together. They'd gone to the women's ward, and they were doing an EVP session for a really long time in like the main outer area before it branched off into the actual rows of cells. And they had set a REM pod down in the doorway of one of the cells. And they just got a vibe that they shouldn't be down this one specific hallway. So they hung out in this communal area. They were down there for maybe an hour, close to an hour, when they realized they weren't getting anything. No EVPs, no EMF, no thermal, nothing. So they decided to leave. As soon as they left, something moved in front of that REM pod and stood there. And it was kind of like at the Stanley Hotel when the REM pod would not stop going off.
Right.
And all the little lights were lighting up. It was like that. So finally, Chelsea was like, if you want us to leave, then turn that off. Stop making that noise. Because it is a very grating noise.
Oh, it's super annoying.
It's super annoying. And on command, the REM pod shut off, which really freaked them out. Because they had felt like there was something not great down that block of cells to the point where they didn't even want to go down there to investigate it. Because it just felt like, we do not need to be in there. And then whatever was down there walked in front of that REM pod that was blocking that same door. And it stayed there until she said, if you want us to leave, shut that off. And it did. And so they left.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really interesting. The next place they went was to the death chamber. And they were doing some EVP work, speaking to the men that had died in that room via gas or lethal injection. And they caught an EVP that sounds very similarly to I'm not ready. And yeah, I can't remember the question that they asked him, but I think what she asked was like, what did you feel in that moment? And then they reviewed the EVP recorder and it said, I'm not ready. So they're like, we need to stay here and keep doing EVP work. So they did. And they were like, what is your name? Did you die here? Were you, did you die of, lethal injection? Or, they were asking those kind of pertinent questions in a situation like that. They reviewed it again. And it said something, they caught an EVP, something to the effect of, I am David something. 2 syllables. I am David, blah, blah. So they're like, what in the hell is that? So she looks up the list of inmates that had been executed at the prison. And she finds that there's an inmate who was executed at the age of 19. His name was David Blackwell. So they played it again. And it does sound like, but again, this could be matrixing, but it does sound like I am David Blackwell. And apparently what he had done was he was a robber, he was a general, miscreant or what have you. And when the cops closed in on him, he shot and killed 2 police officers. And so he was convicted, found guilty, sentenced to death, and then executed by, I don't remember if it was the gas chamber or lethal injection at the time. But I thought that was really quite interesting.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And very difficult to explain because it's clear that he's saying, I am David, blah, blah. The blah, blah is up for interpretation, but it's clear that he is saying, I am David, whatever. So I did find a couple of comments on a blog that I had included. One was from a man named Steve, who worked at the prison from 2006 until it closed as a correctional officer. And he says, quote, I am currently right next door at Warm Springs Correctional Center. I have personally heard and seen unexplained experiences. The most recent was in the Chow Hall. My partner and I received a report of the screen of one of the towers being found on the ground. My sergeant had my partner and I go clear the prison and the grounds. It was about 3 a.m. when we went into the Chow Hall. After hearing noises and seeing shadows, we went into the old walk-in freezer and saw nothing. We checked all the doors while entering. There are no lights and no power to the prison. Using flashlights, we made our way out. As we were walking out, we heard something walking toward us from an area we had just cleared. We both drew our weapons and gave verbal commands to get on the ground, but there was nothing and no one there. We left to clear the cell house and then the investigations area above the warden's office. This area is down the hall from the execution chamber. While clearing this area, my flashlight stopped working. As we left the building, my flashlight was just fine and worked the entire rest of the night. I could go on and on about strange activities about this prison, along with almost everyone that has ever lived or worked there.
Oh.
Yeah. That is pretty crazy. The next one was from an inmate, and he said, I was in the prison in 1971. I was inmate number 11198 for burglary. I was young and stupid. I was actually sent in to clean the gas chamber. That's a horrible fucking job.
No.
Yeah. As for the solitary confinement, I was told that they kept a man there for close to 40 years. And when they finally let him out, when he hit daylight, it turned out he was blind. He had lost his vision, just being in complete and utter darkness for decades. He also ended it, which I thought was fascinating. As for ghosts, I never saw any, but at the time, ghosts were the least of my worries.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
Fuck.
for sure. For sure. So that's really what I have on the hauntings and stuff like that of the Nevada State Prison. I did find a very interesting side note that we have yet to cover and has yet to be a thing on this show. The Spirit Realm Network, who we just promoted for the last several weeks, they did the live investigation of the 1910 jail in Globe, Arizona with Rick McCallum and Dylan Rathman. Well, they did another live, like the one they did with Dylan and Rick, back in September 2021 for the world's largest ghost hunt, which is a day where all the paranormal teams come together, and on the same day, they investigate any paranormal location of their choice, and they stream it live for viewers to watch. So they did that, and this team specifically chose Nevada State Prison. On the team's website, because teams can sell tickets to a paranormal investigation, and they can like cap it at like 12 people or whatever. Those 12 people buy the tickets and go with them on this world's largest ghost hunt. So on this team site was the following. Notice, all attendees must adhere to the following rules to attend. Failure to do so will result in being asked to leave, no refunds. Please note, this location is next to an active prison. No blue jeans are allowed, as this is part of the active prison's uniform. Also, no open-toe shoes, and smoking is not permitted. But I thought that was really interesting. That
is, like, it's kind of creepy.
It's really creepy. Like, do not wear jeans because you could very well be mistaken for an inmate at this prison that's right next door that was potentially escaped. Like, that's the way they'll look at you. Right? It's weird.
And if you have to be that worried about it, like, how many people are fucking getting out of the prison that's next door? They could be hiding in the prison that you're going to fucking look at. No.
Exactly. What if somebody snuck them in some fucking black leggings? Yes, exactly. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Please note, no blue jeans are to be worn, as this is part of the active prison's uniform.
Nope.
We've never covered a prison like that. That was
right.
The abandoned prison is right next door to the new one, except for there is one. There is one. Maybe it's Ohio State Reformatory. But that's a women's prison built so far away. But there is a prison that we've covered that is abandoned, that does do paranormal tours, that has had happenings. And I can't remember the name of it. But you can't go and investigate the inmate graveyard because it extends onto the property of the new prison. So there are some like it, but it's just very rare that we cover ones that, you know, its replacement is literally yards away.
Yeah, that's fucking weird.
Isn't that fucking weird?
Mm-hmm.
That's hella creepy. Yeah, hella creepy. So anyway, guys.
And the Curse of the Hope Diamond, I think we did it as a Patreon-only episode last year.
Did we? Oh, okay. So. Okay, we'll have to take a look.
All right.
We'll have to take a look. Anyway, that's what I've got on the hauntings of Nevada State Prison. It sounds like a really interesting place. And because it closed fairly recently, I'm sure that there are a bazillion more investigations that need to be done on it so that we can kind of get a solid handle on the activity that's there. But I'm here for it. I like this one. This is a good one.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some real funky history, so.
Really funky history, yeah. I wonder if Denver haunts it. I bet he does.
He might. He didn't want to fucking leave the first time.
Seriously, he threw a fit. Anyway, that's all I got. You got anything else?
That's it.
All right, great. Well, let's let them know where they can follow us.
All right, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at HOH Podcast. And on the TikTok at HOH Podcast, at HOH Carrie, and at HOH co-host Laura.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
All right, guys. That's what we have. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Laura, we do have a couple of really great episode locations that have been written in by one of our Patreons. So when you get back from your vacation, let's sit down and figure out a time to fit these bad boys in because they sound really cool.
Cool. I love it.
Yeah. So that's that on that, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully you will tune in to Facebook Live, maybe Instagram Live. Maybe I can do some stuff from St. Albans. And maybe Laura will, TikTok her volcanic summit trip.
I sure will.
Good. That'll be on the forefront of your mind, right? Instead of just not
100%. It's not going to be
dying.
not dying on the way to the top. But
I know it. You're committed to this podcast. I love it.
I really am.
Yeah, it's the best. Anyway, guys, we love you. Thank you so much. As always, stay safe out there because you never know who
or what
is listening. Bye.
See you later.